Good evening. I'm the Maven of the Eventide, and welcome back, Daker Stoker, back to my show, because you have brought some stuff to show me today, haven't you?
I have. Besides the literary world, you've got to delve a little bit in commerce if we're going to make a living to pay the bills as well. But also, it's fun to bring things to the fans. So yeah, I've got some cool things to show you today.
And for those of you who don't know, Daker Stoker is the great-grandnephew of Bram Stoker himself, and he deals in all things Dracula.
Absolutely. And I've got a sequel out, a prequel to Dracula out, and these are in the bookstore as well. Dracula the Undead came out in 2009, and Dracula came out in 2018. These two hardcovers and paperbacks of both books are available at the BramStokerEstate.com signature store.
Tell me about BramStokerTheEstate.com.
My wife and I run this website for informational purposes. When people do research and have cool things to add, we ask them, can we share it to the world on our website? People also come to us and ask us for resources from the website about timelines of Bram Stoker's life. So if they're doing an article or doing a biography and want to get things right. And we also go into the other members of Bram Stoker's family and again, to give an idea of what really happened in his life. It's a resource for folks as well. There are portals to bramstoker.org, which is a site that a scholar keeps and has all public domain books of Bram Stoker's and short stories available to read for free. So we give that guy some headlining as well as work by Elizabeth Miller, Robert Basang. So yeah, it's a resource as well as it's got this neat little store in it.
And besides your books, which are wonderful, what is in your store?
Well, one of the cool things is I'm a real junkie when it comes to book covers. I love old Dracula book covers. I've collected quite a few myself, and friends of mine around the world that have other collections actually send me images of first editions, early editions of Dracula. So I couldn't resist because I like wearing sort of novelty ties myself, and nothing better to me than this Dracula original cover tie. I believe these are $27.95 on the website. Nice sort of polyester tie, and adds some cool color to a wardrobe, but also a very conversation piece if you're at a convention and you're walking around with one of these things.
And anyone who's watching this show knows how much I love vampire books. So I'm assuming you like vampire books too.
And hopefully you will, because it's very colorful as well. But the latest piece, which really is I have to say, when promoting Bram Stoker in the literary world, one of the things that have sort of bugged me is that popular culture has taken his Count Dracula and plastered it on anything and everything that has to do, with Halloween products, candies, food, all this other stuff. And I decided I better do something myself to get a jump on before somebody else does it. And I actually have a little collection of bobblehead creatures, baseball players, other pop culture sort of characters. And I decided that I needed to do one for Bram Stoker, and I actually got the okay from the estate, from my cousins, to make a Bram Stoker bobblehead caricature.
It's the very first time a Bram Stoker bobblehead has ever been made, right?
Absolutely, that's the first.
And here we have one here.
Here he is.
You're going to see it for the first time.
Would you like to do the honors and open this one up?
Thank you.
He's tucked in there very carefully, like he'd be in a coffin.
Yeah, it's very coffin-like.
It is very coffin-like. So there he is lying. You take that out. I'm going to reach in and get the certificate out, because what we've decided to do is create a certificate of authenticity, Bram Stoker Estate licensed product, along with my signature and Bram Stoker's as well. And then the final piece.
Rise from your coffin, Mr. Stoker.
Right. Yeah, there we go. And so this was actually, Lisa, this was based on a sketch, this actual pose of Bram Stoker with his walking stick. Now, he wasn't holding the copy of Dracula in this sketch, but it was in a newspaper in 1890 something. And I just love the pose, very dignified.
It looks very dignified.
Very theater manager-ish. And yeah, we had the designers put the book in his hand and they go and get the head going, because that's wonderful. And you've got sort of the cobblestones where he's standing on, and of course we've got his name there. And this is supposed to be his pocket square. Obviously, it is a pocket square. It's not a piece of the styrofoam.
Looks great. I love him. So he's holding the classic yellow cover. You've got a lot of covers on your tie. Do you have a favorite cover of Dracula?
The story behind this cover is very interesting because at first, it's sort of boring when you say it. But when I actually did a presentation with a forensic anthropologist, she actually said, "Do you know what the red and yellow of the original Dracula represent?"
No.
Well, this is the color of decomposition of bodily fluids and bodily tissue. It also represented in the Victorian era, scary and horrifying things. And so she actually had some photos, which was cool, and we put on the slideshow, of when you get a really bad bruise, what happens to your body when that blood decomposes. It goes sort of that dark red to sort of bluish, greenish, and then yellowish. So when you really think about what I believed was just some sort of boring yellow color to catch the attention, does represent this decomposition of the undead. So it's very, very, very fitting. And it's actually highlighted on here, somewhere on here. There's so many of them. I also like the U.S. edition, the first U.S. cover, which we actually have one of them here, because it shows a castle on a mountaintop. And you and I know that Bram Stoker chose to put his fictional castle on top of Mount Israel, an extinct volcano, because the original ending of Dracula, which doesn't show up in any of these, it was edited out, there was a volcanic eruption at the end of the story.
Do you know if this castle is supposed to be any particular castle?
This does bear a close resemblance to Bran Castle in Brasov, which is 400 miles to the south of where the Borgo Pass is. But we know that Bram actually looked at two books in the London Library, one by Charles Bonner and the other Elizabeth Macchiarelli, that had sketches from their travels in Transylvania of Bran Castle. And when he described it in the early chapter in Dracula, the description, the exterior looks an awful lot like Bran Castle. It looks a lot like this.
So you think whoever designed this cover likely was inspired by Bran Castle as well?
I think either they may not have seen a photo of it like Bram did, but when you look at Bram's description of it.
So they actually read the book and drew it as
that's
described.
what I'm thinking, because it's said it's sitting high up upon these rocks, and it's guarding these two passages, which we know were true because this is sort of was mountain passes that it was guarding. So
this looks like an original edition of Dracula, but it's not, is it?
It's not. It's interesting. There is a fellow actually not far from Charlotte, North Carolina, Vic Nadata, that used to do a lot of work in for films, creating stage props, and he's decided to create a series of reproductions of books, and this is one of them that he's working on. And it's
he handmade this.
He handmade the whole book from binding and everything.
Edges are stained. There's little mold dots on every page.
I mean, he's got this thing looking, and I have a first edition of this book, and it looks very, very similar. But unlike being $1,000 or $2,000, it's, I believe, $300 or $400.
So is he selling?
He does sell
this.
This
isn't a one of a kind.
No, I think he made a limited edition of 20, and I will give you a little hint. He's actually working with me to create something that's going to come out next year, which is a limited edition of the documents Bram Stoker used in his research for Dracula, and we're reproducing those and selling those as a boxed set.
Will it be in the style of what his documents look like so just reproducing everything?
It'll look exactly like the Rosenbach notes, a couple of pages of the Dracula typescript. It'll look like some of the things he found in different treaties. There'll be postcards from places that he went. I have been searching for the last 6 months for the rights and use of all these documents, and he's going to be reproducing these.
How is this happening? Is it going to be like a Kickstarter thing?
It's going to be a Kickstarter.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, we've got plans for 5 different levels, different prices for a number of them. And if you buy the whole kit and caboodle, you get like 200 actually documents and one of these as well thrown in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kickstarter things, you must be familiar with Dracula the Evidence.
Very, very familiar. I was actually asked to consult on that project. Yeah, so that's they apparently they were successful. They're now in the business of creating it. Yeah, Josh O'Neill came to me and said, "What do you think about this? Would you help us describe some of the products?"
For those who aren't familiar, will you explain what Dracula the Evidence is?
Yeah, I mean it's similar to this project that Vic and I are doing, but Vic, my project is all about the documents that went into research and writing Dracula. Dracula the Evidence that Josh O'Neill is doing are all the letters, journals, newspapers, the actual recordings of the documents in Dracula.
Because Dracula is written in an epistolary style of journal entries, letters, telegrams, all those things. So instead of just a book where those have been transcribed, it's the actual original documents.
That's right. Yeah, and he's got some really cool people working on it. One of the neater things he's doing is that he's actually got somebody taking Dr. Seward's voice recordings that he had on a recording phonograph and putting them onto an LP. So you're going to, if you're that into it to buy that, you're going to need to have a turntable, which apparently are coming back and are a popular thing now. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I was fortunate to be able to pledge to that Kickstarter before it happened. So whenever it's made, I'll get it. But
good.
Do you know if there's any way that people still can, or is it?
I think it's maxed out, and I have heard though that there's a chance he might be coming back with sort of a second edition.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, when it does happen, and when I do receive it, I will definitely show it to all of you because you have to see it.
Well, I'm glad you're going to get one because that's really cool. And then you got to just save your money and wait for me and Vic in about a year to get this other one out, because then you'll have the whole collection.
Yeah, when that Kickstarter is live, definitely let us know.
Sure, absolutely. Yep. The Bram Stoker bobbleheads are $29.95, and they'll come to you shipped 2-day shipping for $7, and you can get them at bramstokerestate.com. And if you forget that, just find me on Facebook and I'll lead you in the right direction. Well, Elisa, I think I want to thank you for putting this on. And I think this Bram Stoker bobblehead is going to fit really well with your incredible collection of all these other neat things you have on the shelf. And I'd be honored if you would keep him and give him a worthy home amongst all your collection.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me.
You're most welcome.
Again, Daker Stoker, author, historian, manager of the Bram Stoker Estate.
Thank you all.
Good night.